A Place Called Today from 1972. A black lawyer runs for mayor of a city. How far will he go to win the election? Pretty far. Theme song.
Calhoun's Reviews! Calhoun's Reviews!
If you want to watch A Place Called Today, well, I don't know, get a Roku and download the B-Movie channel, because that's where I saw it. This movie's weird. My interest in it, as I was watching it, it's kind of U-shaped. Started really high, really liked the intro, then I got bored, but then the end saved it. Now, like I said, this is about a black lawyer who decides to run for mayor of an unnamed city.
Mr. Johnson! Mr. Johnson! You've stated you're running as an independent and would accept the endorsement of neither party. Why?
Because neither would want me. No, I'm running on the issues that affect this city.
And in order to get votes, he kind of allies himself with some criminals who stage some terrorist acts, some bombings, and they kill a couple people in order to make the incumbent white mayor look like he is soft on crime.
People always vote for the status quo unless they've got an emotional reason not to. Violence has got to be that reason.
And he, the new guy, will be able to solve it.
What about the recent and increasing wave of violence sweeping the city?
I think I can end that.
Why?
Because I understand the frustration and despair which creates it.
At the same time, there's a woman who's like his campaign manager or something, and she's played by Lana Wood, who's a sister of Natalie Wood. And she is dating a local TV reporter.
You forgot something. You forgot the guy who doesn't give a damn. The guy wants his life on his terms and has it. Now, what about him, Carol?
You'll just have to suffer, darling. I love you, but you're a selfish son of a bitch.
But he is also having an affair with a woman who is the adult daughter of a rich, powerful guy who is friends with the mayor. The movie has a lot of weird things about it. First of all, the director was a guy named Don Shane. He started off directing some softcore movies starring his wife, who is the one playing the mistress/daughter in this one. And it's kind of, I don't know what that's saying about directing your wife and those type of things. There's also a scene where she is sort of encouraged to campaign for the incumbent mayor, and it's kind of creepy.
Fellas, I'm really not much of a politician, but if I were, I believe honesty is the best policy. And in all honesty, when Daddy and the mayor asked me to speak to you today, I got all turned on by the thought of standing up in front of so many real men.
Even not aside from the fact that the director, she being the director's wife, her message is just weird.
The mayor talks about stadiums. All I know about him is I used to sit in them this time of the year and drink a little too much. Of course, that was okay, because my date always scored before the boys on the field did. And as for money, well, that's my father's line. And he thinks I spend too much on clothes that cover too little.
So then after this, though, he got into producing. And he produced a lot of stuff for TV. Seems like a lot of Disney TV, including High School Musical. So that's a interesting career trajectory. Another interesting thing about the movie is that everybody is pontificating all the time. They're giving soliloquies.
Those pigs, those lousy, rotten pigs.
No, the police were just doing their job. They're not the ones to blame.
Not the ones to blame. Now, you two make it sound like this guy was strolling down the street minding his own business instead of trying to blow up a bank. Now, you tell me, who the hell is to blame?
All those people hurrying to work who heard about this on their car radios or read about it sipping their orange juice and said, good, he got what he deserved, and then tossed it away instead of asking why he was trying to blow up the place to begin with.
Now, I kind of thought that was interesting. Other people I saw online hated it. I don't blame him for that. Maybe I didn't mind it because I kind of sympathized with the lawyer's politics, except for, the terrorism. Then there's the actual production choices. Why is it called A Place Called Today? I don't know. Maybe that's a reference to some poem or something I don't know about. And the film, it just sort of starts. There's no opening credits, no theme song. It just shows the title. Boom, we're into it. It's also kind of has this cinema verite feel because there's barely any non-diegetic music. Basically, that means almost all the music you hear is in the world. So it's not like music playing in the background. If you hear music, it's almost always from like a radio on screen or a band or something. But I said almost all. There's one exception. At one point, the lawyer is like, "Hey, TV reporter, I agreed to an interview, but we're not going to do it in a studio. You have to meet me here on the street." Because, he's a man of the street. So for the interview, and we see he's got the mic cable, and presumably there's a camera crew walking, and they're walking down the street talking.
I'm tired of talking about them. I brought you here to show them to you. Let's go.
But we don't hear any of it. Instead, the audio we hear is the only major piece of non-diegetic music. He decides to play a song and kind of do a montage of the decaying buildings and the graffiti and stuff, instead of hearing the interview. Now you'd think because it was a movie about civil rights and race, they might do something by a black musician, might have something, some kind of soul music, something like that. Nope. They decided they're going to play some kind of Pete Seeger-esque folk song.
You walk along my streets, you see my town.
I don't know what was up with that choice. Also interesting is that the film doesn't actually portray the lawyer as really being that bad. He sort of couches everything he's doing in terms of the greater good. And although he is sort of authorizing these people to go commit terrorist acts and bombings and murdering a couple people, he's still not portrayed as like, he's portrayed as sort of doing it for altruistic purposes. And then also you'd think, oh, the mayor, he's an incumbent, he's a white guy, he'd be like super corrupt or something. No, he's not really seen as corrupt or racist or anything. He's just kind of an establishment guy. So, and the lawyer, I enjoyed listening to him talk. Sadly, this is like the first movie he did and only did 2 other things, and I don't know what happened to him. So another thing that's kind of noteworthy is the relationship between Lana Wood's character and the lawyer. Now, I kept waiting for her to leave her philandering boyfriend and hook up with the lawyer candidate. Maybe because it was 1972, they didn't want to do the interracial romance, but they never do that. They keep it professional. I will say, like I said, the middle kind of bored me. It's a lot of talking about politics. There's no real action. And like I say, because I was really into the hook, I was like, oh, this is really interesting. But they don't really, there's no one, I mean, people kind of suspect that the lawyer's behind it, but we don't really get a lot of investigation into it. Then the last 15 or so minutes gets interesting as the election looms. I'm not going to spoil it, but I did like it a lot. As far as I can tell, this has never been released on anything but VHS, so it's kind of hard to get a version of it. There may be other versions floating around on the internet. I do recommend that you do hunt it down if it sounds interesting. Just be aware that it is kind of uneven. I'm giving A Place Called Today 4 thumbs up. It starts really strong, but has a flabby middle, but it ends really strong.